Okay. Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel um, where we learn Selenium using C# and Visual Studio Code. In the last class, we learned how to use one-time setup and one-time teardown annotations from Unit framework. So if I show you, so this is how we used it, and one-time setup and one-time teardown. These two annotations are used to set up the test settings before we execute a test. And one-time teardown is used to close everything what you have been using in one-time setup. So in this case, driver instance and the browser as well. So today we are going to learn one of the very important thing in developing Selenium automation tests, that is ordering of the test. Most of the people wants to run test cases in a particular order. Say, for example, you have some 10 or 20 tests and you want to run them in a particular order. Unit provides an annotation which helps you to order the test cases in a particular sequence and helps you to achieve that goal. For example, in this case, we open the browser to yahoo.uk, and then in real time you can log in to the yahoo.uk, and then you check your mail, and then you compose a mail and send an email, and then log out of the yahoo.uk. So in this test, what we will try to learn is how we can order a set of test cases. In this case, tests, multiple tests, and I'll show you using an unit annotation how to achieve or how to run a set of test cases in a sequential order. I will also explain you, if we don't use an order, how the unit will handle your multiple test cases. So let's start adding one more test. That's because ordering will come into picture when we have multiple tests. So I'll just copy this test and make another test. So I've given this ABC test. Let's give this as PQR. And I'll create one more test. Let's call this as XYZ. So let's add a print statement to each of these tests. So when we run the test, we know which test is printing and how the orders, what order is being followed by unit. So that's the reason we need to print a print line, so it will be easy to recognize which test is running first and which is last and which is not running. So let's write a simple print statement. White line ABC test. Copy this and paste here, and this is PQR, and put here, and this is XYZ test. So what I've done is I've just used the same test, but I've changed the names of the test to a different names, and also I'm printing different lines in each test. So this is an ideal scenario where you develop multiple Selenium tests and you want to run them either sequentially or randomly. So let's say we want to run them in a particular order. Unit provides one of the most important feature, that is an annotation. It's called order. So using order annotation, you can specify which test run should run first and second and third, so on and so forth. So the order keyword is used along with the test. That's because you are specifying the order for each test. So in this case, the way the order keyword is used will be something like this. So when you write a test, put a comma and then type order. There you go. And what it takes is an argument. As you can see, it's an int, defines the order that the test will run in. So the integer value is here a number. So if you want to run this test as a first test case, so I'll just type in 1. That's it. So all you are telling Unit and this test to make sure run this test as a first test. Similarly, we will run this as a second test, and we will run this as third test. Yeah. So run this as first test, second test, and third test. This is how you order all of your tests in C# using Unit. Now let's run all the tests, and you will see the results that how it will run these tests. So let's click run all tests, and see it's open a browser, and closed it. If I just scroll down here, you will see that ABC first test, PQR first test, XYZ first test, and this is an individual test output. So as you can see here, ABC is the first test we put order, PQ as second, and XYZ test. XYZ is the last one. Now let's change the order to make sure it really recognizes your order. So I want to make this test as third test, and XYZ is the first one, and first test as the second test. So now the sequence will be XYZ will run first, and second is ABC, and the third test is PQR test. So let's run all the tests again to make sure all the test runs in an order that we have given. Okay, so the test has completed it, and if you scroll down, there you go. So XYZ is the first. That's because you see here XYZ we have given as a first order. Second one is ABC. As you can see here, second one is ABC test, because it's been given order 2, so it is the second test. And similarly, PQR has order number 3. It has an order number 3 test. So it has printed XYZ, ABC, and PQR. Yeah, and these are the individual XYZ. Individual outcome is XYZ test, ABC, and then PQR. Understood? I hope it's It's very simple. All you have to remember is that if you want to order multiple tests in your Selenium tests file, you can use the order annotation along with the test and specify an integer value to make sure at which level it should run. So if you specify 1, 2, 3, so assume that you have 100 tests, the order can go up to 100 tests. There's no restriction on the number. So as long as you have 100, 200, 500, 1,000 tests, you're free to use any number order. And you can also change the number here. So it's up to you how you use the order. So that's the reason I've used a simple order. Now, let's assume that you don't want to use the order and I just want to execute all the tests and I want to know how this test is executed. Fair enough. So in that case, let's remove each of these orders and annotations from each test. So now I have removed all the order and I want to run all these tests and I don't know which sequence it will follow. Let's see what happens if we run all these tests without giving the order. So we are not using order here and don't want to use the order. All we want to do is just run the tests and see how it behaves. So I'll click run all tests and the test started and the test has finished execution. And let's go to the outcome. Now see, say ABC test, PQR test, XYZ test. Yes, I think whatever you have guessed is more or less correct. Basically, it follows alphabetical order. If you don't specify anything, the test, the NUnit framework, it will recognize this as a test. However, it will run alphabetically. That's the reason ABC first, PQR first, and then XYZ first. So if I make this as let's tweak a little bit these names of the test so that we understand it's really executing alphabetically. I'll make this as say let's XABC and this is APQR and this was MXYZ. So now we have changed a little bit. So now if it follows, since it follows alphabetically order, if we don't provide the order of the execution, so as you can see, the first test starts with A is this one, so this will print, and we will modify that accordingly here, the print statement, and XABC will modify the print statement as well, and here modify the print statement. So now the first should be APQR, the second should be MXYZ, and the last should be ABC, XABC. So let's execute them. The test has started, and let's see what it has come. There you go, APQR, MXYZ, XABC. So A first, so basically it follows alphabetical order. So remember, if you want to use the order, you can make use of order and specify an integer value to the test case um,